Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday the 15th of December 2014. This is episode 108, Torpor. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. This week I basically hibernated, only light hibernation, so torpor instead. I slept 14 hours one day. I slept 12 hours the following day. I think I'm back to a normal sleep schedule now, but between kids being sick and having that crazy work schedule the week before, I don't know, my sleep schedule was just like Anyway, let's talk about fun things, like the Divergent Club is now open. I will put a link to it, so if you are interested in being a part of that, you can purchase your spot. Spots will probably go pretty quickly. They usually do for Jenna's club. Okay, so the club, because it's been a while since I've talked about it, is Lisa, Sparklepunk, and I are doing designs for a Divergent-based club, the trilogy by Veronica Roth, and Jenna of 716 Knit is the dyer behind the club. So each month you'll get a yarn and a pattern, and it's US only. Sorry, international people. And it goes on sale today. I think it goes until Friday maybe, or until it's sold out. And the packages will be sent out by the 20th of January, February, March next year, so 2015. So a month from now, you could be getting a package with a pattern from one of us and yarn from Jenna. So go look at the information that's linked in the show notes. It will be much clearer. So even though I slept all that time, I'm still kind of like sleepy brain. Sorry. The other announcement is the knit along that is happening in January and February in collaboration with Sparklepunk. Lisa is a steampunk inspired thing. So you can use patterns by, this is for me, Lisa might have her own rules, but they'll be steampunk-ish, both of them. For mine, if you use my pattern or Lisa's pattern, stop. Okay, so any steampunk related spinning, knitting, weaving, crocheting counts. And I will even say that you can do works in progress, because you know I love when people finish works in progress. So if you do something steampunk related and finish it in that time period, you get 1 entry. If what you finish uses my pattern or Lisa's pattern, so mechanical bell or a cog in the machine, you can post that project twice. And if you make my pattern or Lisa's pattern using the special colorway that Marigold Jen dyed up, copper patina, then you can post your project 3 times. And there will be prizes at the end. I don't know what they are yet, but they'll be great, I'm sure. I think that I usually do pretty decent prizes. I don't try to give away anything that I would not want to receive. So yeah, that will be happening January and February 2015. So in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. That's crazy. A little over 2 weeks, but basically 2 weeks. It's insane. Okay, I didn't finish anything this week. There's a lot of sleeping, so not a ton of knitting, but actually kind of a lot of knitting-ish. So works in progress. First I want to show off what's behind my head. And it's not knitting, but look at the Christmas tree. Look at all those ornaments. So there should be space for the final 9 ornaments, but if there's not, I'll just put a tree skirt on the bottom and put a present or something. So that's how the tree is looking. Gabriel's really, really excited. we have a pretty clean house. He's feeling better. I'm feeling better. Mara's feeling better. We're all feeling better, so we've been cleaning. And yeah, I really am pleased with how that's turning out. I think it looks so cool. It's so like mishmashy. Next week or maybe the week after, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I will bring it over and show it really close, or I'll put in pictures, but I'm not going to do that this week because I really feel like this is going to be a short episode, and I don't mind that because I feel like everybody's kind of in a holiday crunch time. I can't remember. I don't think I worked on Mara's doll at all, so I'm not going to show it to you. It's just a face, and I cut out some pieces, but I didn't sew anything, so that's not exciting. I worked on my Sam socks. So here is the pattern. Sam by Cookie A, and it's from the book Sock Innovation. And I am through the leg. Disclosure, this is only 2 repeats of the leg pattern and the cuff, but it is 6 inches, and it would be almost 9 inches if I did another repeat. I decided that would be not too long as a sock. However, I am a greedy, and I want some of this yarn to go into my barn raising square. So instead of doing that final repeat, which would be all cable-y and the yarn would be eaten up, I just made 6-inch legs instead of 9-inch legs. So here is the pattern. I don't know if you can see it that well today. I think you can. It's got these cables that are amazing in this yarn. I love these socks so much. I am not finding them to be overly tight, which I suppose is a problem that some people have had on the on Ravelry, on their project pages. I will measure my gauge after I finish the socks. I'll measure my gauge and write that in, because maybe I'm just a loose knitter or something. I don't know. I don't usually have problems with tight or loose, but that way people can have an idea of gauge. So this is where I was last week. So I knit all of this. I started the heel. I am through the I told you last week that you start with the cuff and then you increase a bunch for the cables. Well, I'm through decreasing back down for the heel. And these socks are going to go super fast. I have no doubt that they will be finished next week, because the heel is, you do your decreases and then you do a slip stitch heel, and then the top of the foot, you go back and do decreases across the top of the foot, and then obviously gusset, but the rest of it's stockinette. The rest of the sock is stockinette. So even though I'm at about half of my yarn now, I will have enough left over for a square when I'm finished. So what is this yarn, you might be asking, that I've been talking about? It is, look at this, I have the tag this week, Dancing Dog Dye Works Twist Sock, and it is not focusing, sorry about that. 100% superwash merino in the Zombie Party in Rochester colorway. Nope, no focus. Okay. Yeah. I also worked on the socks for Lorraine's husband quite a bit. I would say this is what got all of the knitting time, because I was just so tired. I finished the first sock. So it has the leg. I was a little bit past the putting in the yarn for an afterthought heel last week, so maybe here minus the heel. Finished the foot. It is 3x1 rib on the leg and across the top of the foot. It's very boring, but good for when you are sick and your brain is mush. So it's just stockinette on the bottom. I did an afterthought heel, but I actually did a I knit probably an inch on the foot and then went ahead and took out the waste yarn so I could do the afterthought heel, because I didn't know how long that afterthought heel was going to be, and I needed to be able to decrease at the appropriate time for the toe. So that's an idea. If you're doing an afterthought heel on a sock for a foot size that you don't necessarily know how long the heel is going to end up because of stitch count or whatever, you can just do that so that you can decrease at the appropriate spot for the toe. And I haven't woven in any of the ends. I don't plan to, because I want it to be, I want him to be able to try them on, and if they don't fit, for Lorraine to be able to fix them. So make them smaller or make them larger, just in case they don't fit. They should, based on measurements, but you know, sometimes things don't work out the way that they're supposed to. And I have started the second sock, but just barely. I have 2 rounds, so it looks like nothing, but it is started, which is the hard part of any project. I feel I really like having new projects. I really hate starting new projects. Just so fiddly when it's this small. Once there's, you know, an inch, then it's not really a problem, but when it's this small, it's just like, oh, my hands don't love it. And the yarn that I'm using is Peyton's Croy Socks FX in Clover colors. So it's kind of a stripey, but more of a color change type thing, and it's not, I don't know, it's not a predictable color transition over a short project. So I didn't even try to match up colors, because trying to do that with this particular type of Croy sock yarn is just, it's madness. And I'm keeping this in my kitchen counter crafter bag, which I love. My Sam socks are not in a bag because they mostly just sit on my desk right now, since I had to keep looking at the chart just to make sure I was in the right spot. It's not a difficult pattern, and certain parts I could go, you know, several rounds without looking at the pattern, but once I got to the next major crossing point, I was like, what's the pattern look like? This week I got a new pattern. Josh, Sort of a Knitter, is doing a mystery knit along. It's called Scarfy Shenanigans, and it is a scarf pattern. The idea is that you get a clue every day, and it started on the 12th, I think. Seems right. And by the 24th, you will have a completed scarf, but it won't be just a boring knitted scarf. I have not actually started mine, but I do have the needles and the yarn sitting on my desk right here in front of me. So I will be starting it, and I will show it to you next week. I just haven't yet because I've been working very diligently on these socks. This week in reading, I finished a couple things because I like to read before I go to sleep. And when I wake up for 10 minutes from sleep, but I know I'm going to fall back asleep, I usually read also. So I finished City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. It's pretty good. There's a major plot point that I have had contention with since it came up. And I was like, well, that's not a real thing, and they're going to figure it out. And they did in this book. And I told Steve, and he was like, didn't you just say that was going to happen? I was like, well, yeah, but it's not like... I find that young adult books are pretty predictable, not in a bad way, but overall, you kind of know what's going to happen if you pay attention to what you're reading. So I paid attention, and I knew that it was going to happen. I like it. I'll be reading the rest of the series sometime. in the near to mid future. Not really sure when. This next book. Okay, so I am pretty sure that I've talked about this author before. In fact, I know I did. I read this book while I was podcasting. Right at the very beginning. I'm pretty sure it was before episode 17 when I got a new camera. This is a book by Patrick Rothfuss, and it is called The Slow Regard of Silent Things. It's a very thin novella, and it is placed in the universe of his Kingslayer, can't remember. I think it's Kingkiller Chronicles. The first 2 books of the trilogy are out, and I believe the 3rd book is coming out this coming year, but maybe that's just a vicious rumor that I heard and it's trying to get my hopes up. The first 2 books are amazing, and I am super excited for the 3rd book. I will talk more about them in the future because I plan on rereading the first 2 before I read the 3rd one because it's been a couple of years since I read them. But they're so good. Don't start reading them now, though, because you're just going to want to read all 3 of them in a row. It's that good. This book follows Ari, A-U-R-I, who is not a main character in the stories, but a very significant minor, maybe not minor, maybe supporting character. I don't know how you would classify her. She's definitely not, I don't know. I kind of feel like she's a major player, but she's not really a major player. Anyway, I love her. She's my favorite character. And this book is a story about her. It's written in 3rd person, which is a departure from the 1st person narrative of the 2 books of the Kingkiller Chronicle trilogy. And this it's so good. It's not, it's difficult to explain. It's not a traditional story, but it's completely, you're completely inside her head, even though it's 3rd person. Like, I don't know, it's amazing. So read the Kingkiller Chronicles and then read this, or read the first 2 and then read this. Don't read this first because I don't know if you would like it if you didn't know the character from the books. If you didn't, I feel like the books make you want to know her and want to know her story. Or, I mean, this isn't her story. This follows her over several days, but it's not her story. But it does give you insight into her, and I love it so much. It's only 150 pages, not even, of story, and it took me over 24 hours to read because I was just like, no, I need to stop. No, because it's going to be over. Like, it was an internal battle. I wanted to read it so much because it's fantastic. But I didn't want to read it because then it was going to be over, and now it's over. And, it's one of those books that you kind of just want to crawl inside and live in for a little while. Not forever, because Ari's an odd duck. It's super odd. But I don't want to be her. I don't want to live in her world. I just want to visit it for a few days. And I only got to visit it for a day because it's so short. It's so good. It's so amazing. I cannot recommend the trilogy that is not completed yet highly enough. I feel really nervous about the 3rd book because I love it so much, this trilogy, and I don't think that I'll be let down, but I'm nervous. I'm sure that the author feels the same way, though, because he has a quite large following for just this trilogy, and he hasn't really written a ton of things. So it's so good. It's so good. Don't read it though until you read the Kingkiller Chronicles, and just know that you might not like it because it's not a traditional story. I started reading, when I finished that, Waistcoats and Weaponry, which is the third book in the Finishing School series by Gail Carriger. It is the steampunk young adult series that she did. She wrote the Solace, I think is the other one. I don't remember. Alexia Tarbati novels that are steampunk, but they're adult books. And I really like the young adult ones too, just because I really enjoy her writing style. Right now, you can see the fan. I just got to the part where they were learning how to fight with fans. I'm not very far in it because I just started it yesterday, but I am very much enjoying it. Invasion. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I don't really have a lot to say. And, ooh, that was your face. You want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Have a wonderful week. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string.
Goodbye.